What's up, guys? Welcome to Frequently Asked Questions, MLG's brand new question and answer show. You ask the questions on Twitter. I get people like Sundance to come in the studio and answer them. Sundance, this show was your idea. Why are we doing it?
You get a lot of questions. Might as well answer them, right?
Sounds good. Well, let's get right into it right now. It's talking about events. Our first question is, what was the driving factor that led you to put Starcraft 2 on the main stage in Anaheim?
Well, Starcraft's huge. I mean, there's no denying it. You look at those rooms, you look at the stream numbers we get, the audience engagement is just fantastic. So we felt like it had earned a spot in the middle of the room. I mean, we needed more surface area in terms of chairs and in terms of just the overall production for the spectators. And I know the Halo guys were upset, but the fact of it is like, just look at the evidence. It's like, it's a smart business move to give the most rabid fan base we have at the moment more. Then the fact that Anaheim is about 30 minutes away from Blizzard headquarters, like I have to try and set myself up for success with them. So of course I'm going to do that. There's nothing personal. I mean, we've been called a Halo League in the past, and the Halo guys, some got really upset by it. But the fact is, you'd have to be blind and stupid not to make that move, especially in Anaheim, especially with 200 Blizzard employees coming. And look, 70% of the streams were StarCraft 2 streams in terms of what we were generating out of that event. It's a lot of movement there, and all the games can benefit from it.
75% of 30 million? I think that's a lot of StarCraft fans out there. Totally makes sense to me. But Sundance, we're going into Raleigh. After seeing the most amazing crowd we've ever had, no doubt it's going to be in the center again once again in Raleigh? Yeah,
StarCraft is going to be in the center again. I mean, the plan was for us to try and rotate and have all the games appear in the middle. We might try and do something with Orlando for Call of Duty actually getting a little bit more love. But for Raleigh, we're adding a game, so we're kind of limited in what we can do in terms of shuffling stuff around. So it's you're going to see StarCraft in the middle again, having the most surface area, along with League of Legends coming in off on the side with Call of Duty.
League of Legends coming in.
Yeah, unless something crazy happens between now and then, it's going to be there.
All right, well, speaking of new games, we've been getting tons and tons of questions. Gears of War is coming out at the end of the year. We supported that through Gears 1 and 2. You got League of Legends, of course, being huge internationally. Modern Warfare 3 is coming out. Fighting games blowing up at EVO. Talk to me, are there any future titles going to be on the pro circuit?
Well, every year we get into the situation where there's new games coming out and we have to make decisions about what we're going to support. There's a couple of things happening. Number one, we have a different league structure for next year that's going to allow us to support games. It's going to be easier for us to add things and see how they work and then pull them off if they don't work. We'll get into that later. But League of Legends, we're going to work with Riot. We're going to work with Riot in a pretty big way, I think. Gears of War 3, Quinn. If you don't follow Quinn, you got to follow him at Epic. He and Cliffy have been fantastic. I reached out to Cliffy, and he responded, and he was engaged around it, and he handed us off in a way which got development work done around the game, which is going to make it work for us. I think the game will be better than Gears 1 was for us in a lot of ways in terms of some of the stuff that they have added, so I'm really hopeful for that. We don't know what's happening with Halo. Obviously, we've got Reach still. There's going to be a bunch of things, in terms of what that's going to look like next year. With Modern Warfare, honestly, I'd like to give Black Ops another season because it works on land for us. I mean, honestly, we don't know what's going to happen with Modern Warfare 3. We've had issues in the past with Call of Duty games not working on land. And I'll be straight with you, Treyarch has supported us a lot in the effort to try and get it to work. Vonderhaar has been engaged with us. He's passionate about it.
He was in Anaheim.
He's always coming out and representing. He's maybe a little too biased towards Optic, but what are you going to do about that? But he and Jay have been fantastic. Like they've been super supportive. So if we can make that work, and you know what, we may shift it to Xbox, right? We may try and shift it to Xbox to try and get a little bit of energy there, have it on for 2 years, and then see what happens. But again, it's going to be dependent upon what Modern Warfare looks like, what the Treyarch guys want to do with us, and what Activision wants. But I think I have a way to make that happen, where we can support both games in different ways. But if we're going to run on land, we got to have a game that works on land. And then fighting games. The tweet I made after EVO was designed to get a response, to see what people think, to see if people are going to be supportive because, for some reason fighting games guys have an issue with some of what we've done in the past. I don't think it's fair. I don't think we've earned it, but that's not up to me. That's up to them. But so people want Street Fighter. They really do. We've got a great relationship with Warner Brothers, so we can do stuff with Mortal Kombat. We had a decent amount of success with Tekken, but it just didn't draw, and for me, the crazy thing is my initial engagement with competitive gaming was around Tekken. That's what I played. So I'd love to see it. I think there's a great place for it, and I think our new structure can support it. So I'm going to try and work with some people to get Capcom's head turned around a little bit, and to see if we can support Evo too. Maybe we can give Evo a little bit of an injection of some of what we've got going on to help them out, because there's no reason we shouldn't be working together.
I remember back in 2005 Vegas, we were teamed up with Evo.
Yeah, we had them in the room, and good and bad, but you know what? The fact is, they do really well. We do what we do well. We can and should work together. And
I do know it was a lot of fun. Not only was I getting a chance to wreck kids in Halo, because the tournaments were small enough back then, but got a chance to walk around, see all the fighting games, and Marvel vs. Capcom. That's the game I'm pulling for. Make that happen.
I'm horrible at that.
All right, let's move on to some membership stuff here. First of all, MLG Serpent X wants to know, can he buy a lifetime membership to MLG?
Serpent X, lifetime membership. You'll make an offer, I'll let you know. I mean, what do you got in mind? What do you want with that? You want like hugs? Or, I mean, you let me know what the benefits are. We actually, and this is true, we actually had a conversation when we first came up with membership saying that you've got to let people name their own price, like the craziest membership. Don't limit them in price. So we had people advising and saying from outside companies saying, your most loyal fans will give you $500 a year. And said, well, it's great, but what if, how do we do that? We just want to make sure that it's affordable and people are getting enough out of it. But Mr. Serpent X, let me know what you got in mind. We'll figure something out.
And then another question here is coming from WeakLink. Has MLG sold enough ticket passes memberships to increase the prize pool for next year? If not, what is the goal?
Not yet. Like I said, I got a lot of shit for it, but I got a ton of shit for it actually when I came out and said I wanted to sell 100,000 by the end of the year. The goal with the structure for next season has an increase to about $2 million in prize money and stipends. Okay, and that's, again, the goal is also to invest in the event so that the spectators at home and the people in the live event have a great time, to be able to add more to it, right? That money, that investment capital has got to come from somewhere. To say that it's got to come from my pockets or from our sponsors' pockets, there's a point where you can't do that anymore. You've got to have a well-rounded business. So, we're selling memberships fairly well. There's not a lot of broad marketing out there yet. The Hot Pockets boxes with the free codes. Guys in Europe, go ahead, set up a fake account. I don't care, but if you like what you see, come on, buy it. And membership is 8 cents a day, or just watch the streams with the commercials. Like, don't screw us and then screw us again. Like, you're going to have 3 months of free membership from Hot Pockets. Come on, like if it's worth it, it's worth it. If it's not, then just let us know what will make it worth it. But those memberships are going to go to support the ability to reinvest in the business. Because if you go back to Dallas and how bad that event was. Without that event, I wouldn't have been able to get soundproof booths. I wouldn't have been able to get 2 HD streams. Now 3 in Raleigh, 3 HD streams. Those are capital investments of $60,000, $35,000 for booths, and I mean, it's just like it adds up. So when I've got a budget that's locked in and I've got additional costs, I've got to try and push revenues elsewhere. So that's why I said 100,000 memberships. You can say I'm crazy, but I think if we can't do 100,000 memberships, and maybe not by the end of the year, but if we can't do that, then this business isn't as big as any of us think it is. But we're tracking pretty well. We've got partners behind it, so we'll see.
Working towards it. Well, from memberships to merchandise, Joshua Krazer, one of our favorite guys from New York City, he wants to know, when are you going to give us an update on the MLG Mad Catz Controller? Are they still coming?
They'll be in Raleigh. If you come to Raleigh, Mad Catz is going to be there with a booth. They're going to have a special MLG product for sale. It's not the controller, but the controller will be there for people to see. And I've had one recently in my possession, and I think they're pretty sick. It's going to be an expensive controller, but it's going to be worth it for a number of reasons. It's going to have a higher level of customer support than you're used to seeing, high level customization, and the PlayStation 3 version and the Xbox version are the same form factor, so they look and feel the same no matter what platform you're playing on. So for PlayStation folks who say the controller isn't good, for shooters, this one will fix that. But Raleigh, it'll be there. It was going to be at E3, but we made some design changes to increase the quality of the product, and so now it's Raleigh.
MLG Puckett asks, can I tell people that I've tested the controller and it's awesome?
Yes, MLG Puckett can tell people that.
Awesome. It's awesome. All right, moving on here. We got some history questions to wrap up the show for today, Sundance. RC Blitz wants to know, what inspired you to start the very first MLG Pro Circuit live event?
So the big story behind MLG with Mike and I starting it, and Sepso was never good at video games and still is not good at video games, but he played them, and we played a lot against each other. But for me, I played video games as a kid, and they were a very social activity for me. I always played against other people. I always kept track of score. Too competitive, right? going into college, that continued, and then going out into the real world and working, I realized that that was something I always went back to. So when we were thinking about what we were going to do next, we'd worked together, had a business that we sold off. We kept coming back to like how engaging video games were, and then the Halo became a big part of it. And we said, we have to just do something that's just so crazy that people are going to say, why? Like what made you think of that? And we found out that there was this underground movement around Halo, which is very similar to the arcade scene for fighting games, which was similar to what was happening on the PC side around Counter-Strike. And it kind of clicked, where we just said, screw it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We'll go get real jobs. And we just decided to put everything we had into it. And almost a decade later, it seems to be working out. So it was just, with that, I'll get a real job.
I like your ideas. All right, final question, Sundance. A lot of people are asking for this, but I only want you to give 2 sentences. Can you give us a preview on 2012?
2012, yeah. Where to start? We're going to build a studio/arena. We're going to go from 18 days a year of pro circuit competition to 40 to 44 weeks. And it's going to be different and better. 4 seasons over the course of the year: winter, spring, summer, fall. That's all I can say. Clap's going to kill me.
Seasons! All right, guys, that is going to do it for the first episode of Frequently Asked Questions. Sundance, thank you so much for joining us. And guys, if you want to get your questions in for episode 2, hit us up on Twitter at MLGFAQ is our address.
Like the logo.
Yes. Okay, it's pretty. All right, Sonny, thanks again. We'll see you guys next time.